Hello?
Victor, help me.
Juliana,
Customer slap me, beat me today.
slap you again.
Yes, all my face has swollen up.
I told you to leave the last time now.
He said he will change now.
He said he will change.
Yes, he came to beg me with his brothers.
Sorry.
What should I do?
We are leave.
Girl, think about it.
You think about it.
Yes, I'll think about it.
Okay, oh. How many women does this happen to? You're with a man. He's behaving like a monster. He's giving you hell on earth. In your mind, you say you're going to leave today. Next week, you say he will change. Hope has come back. What is wrong with women who stay in abusive relationships and don't find the strength to leave? Today, I'm going to be exploring the psychological reasons that you are not aware of. And I'm going to be giving you solutions to help anyone going through this. So if you have a friend that you're always advising, leave this guy, and it's like you put sand inside the brain, watch this so that you might find it useful and send it to her. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Victor Akan, and I would like to welcome you to my Breath of Hope podcast. See, in here you find contents that will help you grow and heal, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. If you're someone who suffers from trauma, if you're someone who suffers from addiction, if you're someone who's confused and you need clarity in life, this podcast is that safe space for you. And so I'm saying all of this so that you just subscribe. Why? Because you might never see the Breath of Hope podcast again. That's because if you don't subscribe, YouTube might feel like, you're not really interested in this. And so they might not push it to you as much. And so hit that subscribe button so you don't lose out on the amazing content that I know I share with the world. And today we'll be talking about how to get away from an abusive relationship. But first, we are going to be focused on the psychological stronghold that is holding women, especially women, because most domestic violence is always the male against the female. Most, not all. And so today we are going to be focused on helping the women get out of these things. Why? Because your friend might be suffering from one emotional or physical trauma or the other. You're telling her, leave. She will tell you that she will leave today. Next week, they have used it to reconcile. They're not picking your call again, or she's not picking your call again. And you're wondering, why is she behaving like this? There are reasons, there are strongholds that it's making it difficult for her to break away from. And I'll be sharing it with you if you're a victim or you know someone who's a victim, so you understand what is actually happening and you can now know how to break free from it. Number one, intermittent rewards. Now, what are these? This is simply a scenario whereby guy slapped you because you did something wrong or you said something wrong or something that annoyed him. And you're crying, you're feeling hopeless, you feel like you want to leave. And then all of a sudden he ambushes you with roses, chocolate, maybe buys you the latest iPhone or the latest Samsung, or maybe he's basically just being unusually sweet. Think about it like the honeymoon phase. Think about it in this context. Women are very emotional creatures, right? And women crave all of the, baby, the emotional mushings, all of those things. Women crave for these things. And so he has ushered you into a phase of the honeymoon phase, something that you crave for, okay? And so if you're not careful, when he beats you the next time, in your mind, you want to leave, but you know that there is this sweet phase that you're craving for that is coming. And so you see it as though it is more or less like you are working for the honeymoon. And I'll explain what I mean. So think about it like, because you've been slapped, that is the work that you're doing. And so when the honeymoon now comes, it now feels like, the pleasure is more than the pain, okay? And so it feels like you've worked for this. And the fact that it comes in very unexpected manners, in ways that ambushes you. And so because of that, it now begins to feel like, yes, I worked for this, it is unexpected, and I can't, wait for the next one to come. Think about it this way. When a gambler, is playing sporty bets, if the gambler is sure that he's going to win every single day, winning becomes boring. Sometimes the thrill of winning in betting comes from the unexpected outcomes, right? And so you don't know what is literally going to happen in the next 90 minutes of playing a bet. And so there's that adrenaline that keeps pumping in you that makes you to keep refreshing the scores and all of those things. And so because of that, you want to keep going back, the thrill of it. Okay. Now, in the same way, the reward is not assured. The timing of the reward is never assured, and it keeps the adventure going and keeps you alive. Now, you might not know this, but that is one reason why you are stuck. Number 2, trauma bond. Now, what is trauma bonding? Trauma bonding is in a case of Stockholm syndrome, whereby you are falling in love with your abuser. So think about it this way. A couple of guys kidnap you. All of them are being mean to you. And then there's this one guy that is nice to you. And so even though he's your kidnapper, you feel like because he is relatively the nicest person, you begin to develop feelings for him, okay? He has traumatized you, but he has become your safe space, quote and unquote. And so in the same way, trauma bonding with your abuser can happen in this way. He has slapped you, he has beaten you, and he is now coming to apologize to you. So the person who caused you the pain is now assuring you of safety, is hugging you, doing nice things for you, taking you through honeymoon phases, giving you assurances, and so you are now bonded to him. One example that I always use, as the best way to describe trauma bonding is when I talk about, addiction, and specifically when I talk about the shame that comes with, say, pornography and masturbation addiction. So let's say, for instance, you've been trying to quit porn and masturbation, and you're going on a road, you're like 20 days, 25 days, and you now fall once. What now happens is that after you fall, you now feel shame, and you now feel anger and frustration with yourself for failing. You now enter a cycle of condemnation, and then something now tells you that, you've already fallen, just continue in it. And so you are trying to escape the shame and the condemnation, and then you now enter back into that cycle. So something is motivating you to go back to the thing that made you feel shame in the first place and see it as your safe space. So in order for you to escape the feeling of shame and condemnation, you go back to that addiction as your safe space and to just blur out the negative feelings that you feel. In the same way, it happens. The person has slapped you. You feel shame, you feel hurt, you feel all of these things. The person is now coming back as your safe space, and you are now attached to that person as a result. Why? Because you don't see a way out except for where you've been stuck in. Number 3, gaslighting. Now, what does this mean? This means that the person just slaps you or he beats you, and he now comes and tells you that, but it's because you did this that I did that. It's because I don't like the way you put the mop inside the water. Don't use this bucket, use more bucket. That's why I slapped you. Something like that. And so for every single time that he's telling you a reason why he beat you up or why he slapped you, you're putting it in your head that, okay, he's right. Maybe I should have done this better. He's gaslighting you. And so you don't end up trusting in your own self over time. Okay, because that is the resultant effect of gaslighting. The fact that somebody is telling you something, and even though it goes out, beyond any rational, reason, you still abandon your logical reasoning to take his own opinion of the matter. So now, for each time that you abandon your rationality, you are losing trust in yourself, and you need to have trust and confidence in yourself for you to walk away from a messy situation. If not, you're going to feel stuck. And so for each time that he's gaslighting you, you're just saying, okay, if only I don't do this, if only I don't do that, if only I don't do that. Before you know, you have like 500 things that I should not do so that I don't annoy Tunde into beating me. You have like a second Bible. Before you know it, it might be that you hugged him too tight. So don't hug him too tight. Okay, maybe I should hug him, but it also depends on the mood he's in. And so you don't trust yourself. You begin to think like a lunatic. You begin to think like a mad person. Okay? Now, another reason why you cannot get out is something called isolation. Now, isolation is very important, not just in abusive relationship, in any difficulty that you find yourself that you need to get out of. There's a saying that people we usually give that will say that the willpower that got you into a problem most times will not be the same willpower that gets you out of the problem. A lot of times, you need a community that guides you through a certain problem. A lot of times, not all the time. So think about it like in the case of addiction. One very effective rule, regardless of the kind of addiction that you find yourself in, is that you need a community, okay? And so in the same context of abusive relationship, especially if you're not somebody that is strong enough to walk out of an abusive relationship, you need people, you need family, you need friends, you need loved ones, you need community. And because of that, what happens is that if you are now with a predator, you're now with somebody who just not a good person, he begins to separate you from all of your friends because he wants to possess you all to himself. And he beats you today. You tell your friend, let's say your friend's name is Sylvia. You tell her, Sylvia, he slapped me. Sylvia now say, what nonsense? Blah, 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 blah. After both of them are finished conniving, Sylvia has planned how you break up with the guy. After 1 week, you tell Sylvia, don't worry. Sylvia is trying to, stop picking Sylvia's call. You will now reconcile with the man on Sylvia. Sylvia now becomes the enemy. Then after that, Sylvia now says, okay, you know what? Let me keep my distance. And before you know it, because you're an adult, everybody is keeping their distance from you. So when it is now time for you to talk to somebody, first of all, you're isolated, and with isolation comes shame. And with shame comes the inability to reach out to anyone. So you're stuck in that position. Another one is cognitive dissonance, right? And this is a case where you can't think clearly because your emotions are all over the place and things like that. Now, in this context, you're telling yourself that, I can't leave this relationship because I've invested years into it. See, as a wellness coach and somebody that people reach out to for different issues, this is one issue I see always reoccurring. Women will reach out to me, they will tell me the issues in their relationships, he has been cheating on me, he used to beat me, I don't think he has plans to marry me, this one, that one, this one, that one, this one. And I say, okay, let us work towards you leaving. And they're like, is there no way I can convince him? And I'm like, why are you trying to convince a full-grown man? And they're like, I've spent 2 years in the relationship, I've spent 3 years in the relationship. And so it now feels like because they've spent some level of years, they rather try to put in the work or make some compromise to, make the guy maybe take them more seriously or change him in some way than just come to the reality that I'm dealing with a full-grown adult who is not ready to, be on my wavelength and I need to move on. And so because of that, some of them now end up spending extra more years until they now realize that this is the almost scatter. Then they now end up with hate. Why? Because they were not strong enough to make certain decisions. So you must understand that when a relationship isn't going well, especially in the case of an abusive relationship, you have lost a lot of things, maybe your dignity and a lot of things. The only thing you have to yourself is control, right? And that control is this decision to say, okay, you know what, I'm putting an end to this now. And so even if you walk away from the relationship, you will know that I chose to end it. I chose to put a stop to this nonsense. Then for someone to be beating you, you're taking the shit and then the person just dumps you and gets somebody and say, I don't want you anymore. Now, you don't just feel like somebody who was disrespected and manhandled. You also feel like somebody who was used in every possible way and dumped like trash. And you don't want to be that person. And so you want to be the person who is able to walk away with her dignity. And another one is something I'll call the fog. Now, what is the fog? The fog is an acronym that just simply means fear, obligation, and guilt. Now, what this means is this. This means that if you're with a very manipulative person, he can pry on one of three things. So let's say you're someone who gets fearful a lot. He can pry on your ability to get scared easily, okay? Let's say that you're somebody who can easily feel guilty, and all of those things. He's going to pry on your guilt. Or let's say you're somebody who is called to a sense of obligation. He's going to take advantage of your obligative side. And so, for instance, an example with fear, he might say something like, let's say you want to walk away. He will say something like, if you leave me, I'll kill myself. Oh. And so you're like, you're scared. I don't want this guy to kill himself. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Let me just stay. Right? Now, if you're somebody who, let's say you're the firstborn in your family, you're always looking after other people, you have savior complex, he knows that, okay? So he will now say something like, I'm working on this side of myself, right? Why don't you help me work on this side of myself? And because you now have savior complex, you're listening to what he's saying. You will now personalize his own redemption story. You now see that in your mind, subconsciously, you're like, let me be his savior. Okay? Now, if you're somebody that feels guilty easily, he will now say, but you promised to stay with me. Do you want to leave me now that I need you? Or something like that. So he's going to phrase it in a way that prides on your vulnerability, your ability to be fearful, your ability to stay obligated to a particular purpose, or your ability to be guilty or to feel guilt about a thing. So you want to watch out for that and be aware about that. Now, one very important one is what I call attachment wound. So this is the most important. And what's an attachment wound? An attachment wound is simply the way you interpret love. See, love means different things to different people. There's an objective meaning of love, but you must understand that love means different things to different people. And what does this mean? And what this just means is this. To somebody who grew up where the father, and the mother were very good people, loving couples, always happy, always dancing, going on vacations, taking care of the children, paying the bills, spending time with with one another and the kids. To these people, love comes in a very healthy sense. Okay? These people will go out to the world, meet a man that is a douchebag, and say, they compare them to their father. And their father wasn't like that. And they say, no, this isn't what love is. Why? Because that is not what they are used to. It is not a familiar ground for them. Now, you're with somebody else that the father is always using the mother as punching bag, that they've abandoned, that they never spend time with, that the only definition of parenting, in how they experienced it was just, pay the bills and things like that. To people like that, love would seem strange. That is the objective meaning of love will feel strange. Now, so there are women that will say things like, I cannot be with a man who isn't troublesome, who cannot fight. Why? Because his relationship will be boring. To them, the meaning of love means chaos, means adventure, chaotic adventure. They are used to maybe the mother troubling the father troubling the mother back. So their definition of love is drama. And they know that they are suffering from trauma. Now, to other people, they're like, the man doesn't beat me. How well that is. To other people, they're like, he doesn't cheat on me. Is he gay? Why? The father has slept with everybody. In fact, they know the father for sleeping with everybody in town, in the village. So to those people, when they see love, the way the man interprets it in an abusive manner, that is what they are used to. So it is their normal. In fact, any deviation from that is abnormal to them. You see, there are women that will meet a good man, legit man, and because of fear of the unknown, they will sabotage that relationship. They don't even know that they are doing, but they will sabotage it. They will now go to somebody that will cause them trauma, because that is their normal. They stay there. So you must also recognize if you have any traumatic experience, PTSD from when you were growing up, that you've interpreted as love and heal from it. Now, how do you get away from abuse? Number one, the most important thing that you must note is identity, right? Now, down to my last point where I spoke about your experience of what love is and what love means to you. See, it is very important that you have a good valuation of who you are and your worth. Now, this just simply means that you must understand what love really means. Okay? See, I like to interpret love from the Christian perspective because I think that the Christian religion is a religion that is built on love, and one that is not just built on love, but built on love unconditionally. So I always come from this perspective, and the perspective that Jesus Christ, right? God the Father sends Jesus Christ to die for us. And I always tell people that, if maybe a goat is in a building and there's fire in the building, will you rush into that building to save the goat? You say, no, why? It's a goat. So the only reason why you rush into a burning building to save, something or someone is because you feel like, okay, maybe he's a baby. The life of a baby is worth so much, has so much potential. Or maybe it's my wife. Or maybe it's this person I care about. Why? Before you rush into a burning building, you are going to do what is called cost analysis. Is this person worth saving? And if the person is worth saving, you will do everything to go through hell and back to save that person. The first thing to note is that God sent Jesus Christ to die for us. And before God could have done that, there was something done called cost analysis. Are you worth dying for? And the fact that Jesus Christ came to die for us means that you're worth dying for. That is the valuation of your word. You're not somebody that God sent someone on his behalf to die for, or you're not somebody that God sent somebody to die for just for somebody else to use it as a punching bag. You are worth more. In fact, I like to put this way, in this perspective, in Ephesians chapter 5 from 22-23, where the Bible is talking about husbands loving their wife like Christ loved the church and gave his life for the church. So it means that for you to love a person to the extent that you're willing to die for the person, we must see it in how you live for the person. See, if a man cannot slap himself, a man should not be able to slap you. If a man cannot slap himself, he should not be able to slap you. Why? Because he should see you as somebody he can die for. And that should reflect in how he lives for you. In fact, I have this rule. And the rule states that if you have a car and you have to go to the island every single day, let's say you live in the middle, you have to go to the island every single day, and that same car, your wife has to take you to work on the mainland, you must sacrifice that car for your wife to go to work on the mainland, so that you will take bus and go to work on the island. Why? Because what it means to be a man means sacrifice. It means I must kill myself daily for your comfort, for your protection. And that is what it just means to love a person as a man. That is the masculine way of loving a woman. Now, you must have good valuation of who you are and whose you are. You must have a certain kind of way of thinking and certain mindset. Now, mindset like this would help. You must start thinking from this to this. Instead of thinking, I caused their rage, think, I am not responsible for this man's choices. Why? Because he's an adult. He's a man. Okay? If you say something you're not supposed to say, there are two choices, slap or walk away. If he slaps, it just means that his ego got in the way. Now, of course, if he's tired of the way you talk to him, he can as well just leave the relationship. It's not by force. Okay? So you must think from, I caused his rage, to, this man is responsible for his own choices. Why? Because he's an adult. Another mentality. Instead of thinking that love is pain, especially if you come from a traumatic home, think love is sacrifice, care, and respect. Okay? Sacrifice, care, and respect. You can even add safety to it. So, does this person protect you? And the person who slaps you doesn't protect you. A person who slaps you doesn't care for you, because we've defined what love is. A person who slaps you doesn't respect you. So you must realize every single time that he has gone against these boundaries, these frameworks for what I consider as love. Another mindset. Think from I am overreacting to my body is saying something. Now, what do I mean? He slapped you and then you're like, I think I'm overreacting. Just a small slap. Check your jaw. Your jaw is paining you. You've shifted your jaw from ear to ear. You've shifted your jaw. This bone is now flexible, like skin. You must be able to take, if there is bruise here, take mark of all of the different times your body is pain. You're not overreacting. If you're feeling pain, I promise you, you're not overreacting. Now, one other mindset that I want to take note of is, I must save them, to I must pick myself first. Why? Because you're not anybody. See, you're not Jesus Christ. You didn't bring this man to the world. You are not the mother that raised him. So you should not pay for somebody else bad parenting. Don't pay for it. You are not anybody's savior. And I always say this unapologetically. You are nobody's savior. If he wants to work on himself, and we'll give him another chance, let him go and work on himself. Then when he's ready, you guys can do what you do. But it is not your responsibility to help him through something that is going to endanger your life. It is his responsibility to put himself straight, because his primary responsibility as a man is provision and protection. Okay? And I hope that with all of these tips, I've been able to convince you and not confuse you, all right? I'm here to answer your questions if you need me. If you have anyone that they are beating, punching like Ghana must go, please share this video to the person or with the person, okay? Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. I just want to know your thoughts, what you think, all right? If you want to insult me. If you want to give your opinion, but comment, all right? I'll see you next week. Have a lovely day. Bye.